I'm a little worried they're going to come both ways. Oh, I already read that guy like a book. Oh, get off me. There's a guy push me. Nice.
Oh, come on. Where are you at?
You got that. Guy in the back spawn.
Woo,
Nice. V2. Woo. Love it. I need somebody to peek. And I got the V2 as well, double V2! Alright, so if you didn't see yesterday, they added in a new sniper to World War II. It's called the Type 38. It's so good. It's a bolt action sniper. I want to go over like the scoping speed, the fire rate, the damage, all that stuff. Well, maybe not the damage, but I want to talk a little bit about the sniper itself and how it compares to the others in the game, because I know a lot of people are like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it better than this? Is it better than that? So because of all the changes that have been happening, because of the updates, I want to show you guys my new setups, my class setup, you know, some general tips on how to snipe with this new update, because it's changed a lot of things. Obviously, my main tips video from months ago is still relevant. I'm not going to cover nowhere near as many things in that video, so I will link it below if you want to, you know, refresh your memory. But this is going to be more about the class setups, how you should play with certain snipers. But I'll talk about the aim assist change, because obviously that's changed. I'll talk about the new sniper and a bunch of other things too. So I hope you guys enjoy. Drop a like if you do, and share this around if you think it's going to help some of your friends and family. I don't know why family would want to know. But anyway, let's get into this. Let's talk about the Type 38. So yesterday, after using the Type 38 a lot, I felt like the scoping speed, the ADS time was a little bit quicker than the others. It just felt that way. Maybe the animation was like playing tricks on me, because it does look like it scopes in and scopes out quicker. It needed to beat the Lee Enfield, obviously, because of all the nerfs to the car and the Springfield. Those scoping times are the slow ones now, and the Lee Enfield had the fastest or the quickest. So as you can tell on the screen right now, though, it does by like a slither, tiny frame, a millisecond, whatever you want to call it. The Type 38 has a faster ADS time than the Lee Enfield. Just by it's basically the same, honestly. Alongside that, though, we have the fire rate. It is a fast firing sniper, so I linked it up with the Lee Enfield to see what it was like, and it actually has the same speed. The bullets come out pretty much the exact same time every time. But obviously, there's a lot less bullets in the Type. There's only 7 with external mags, and with with the Lee Enfield and external mags, you get 15. So I think because of that and the way I've played with it, I feel like I'm getting less hit markers with the Type. So maybe that's more powerful than Lee Enfield. So you have a faster scoping time by a tiny millisecond. You have the same fire rate, and you may have more power. In the game, there isn't any proof that it is a higher damage, but after playing with the gun, I think that might become the go-to sniper in terms of that, because higher damage, fast fire rate, and fast scoping speed, I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. So before we get into the class setup here, I want to talk about the aim assist, because obviously before it's a little bit weird. If you use the mounted division, you got aim assist with the car and the Springfield when you held your breath, but if you use the car and the Springfield on other things other than the mountain, you didn't have aim assist. But then if you use the Lee Enfield and the Carabin on other classes other than the mountain, you have a tiny bit of aim assist. It's a bit weird, honestly. But anyway, now it's calmed down a bit, and it's back to normal. It's back to what it kind of should be, I guess you would say. So doesn't matter what division you use, all the snipers now only have aim assist when you hold your breath with the sharpshooter perk, or whatever you want to call it. So if you don't hold your breath, you get 0 aim assist. If you hold your breath, you get aim assist. I wish it was like that at the start of the game, so I didn't have to be weird about explaining everything, but they've leveled it out, so every sniper only has aim assist if you hold your breath. So now you know. Obviously, you're going to try and counter that with the centering technique of getting people in the crosshairs before you scope in, so you don't have to do all the work in the scope, because you got no assistance now, unless you hold your breath. But if you want to be fast and aggressive, you really shouldn't be holding your breath too much. I'm not going to go into any sniping tips, but if you go back to watch the other video, like I said, it's going to clear a lot of that up for you. So because of this big update that they've dropped on World War II that changed a lot about the game and a lot about the divisions in the game, a lot of people have been asking, well, what setup do I run now? What class setup is the best for sniping? Because before, you kind of had to use, well, you didn't have to, but you kind of were swayed, you know, leaning towards using mounted, because you could hold your breath with the sniper. The sharpshooter perk, or whatever it was called, was only available with the mounted division. But now you can use it on any division. You can just use it if you pick up a sniper randomly, you can use it. So you can hold your breath with anything. So it opens up so many possibilities for some crazy setups with all of these divisions. And I want to run through what I recommend with each of those, because there's 3 right now. There's mountain, there's armored, and resistance. So they're so good for sniping. So I want to run through the perks of those and a couple of the others as well, and show you guys my favorite class setups for sniping now, because there's so much variety and I absolutely love that. So obviously, if you want to be sneaky, if you want to be sniper like, you can still rock the mounted. It's still definitely beneficial to use that. Invisible to the enemy streaks or whatever in the air, so that's always going to be great. It's always nice to have that, especially it depends on the opponents, it depends on the game types, and that's what I'm always going to say. Not one setup is always going to work in every game type. There's definitely things that you can change. There's definitely others that you would rock in certain situations on certain maps. So obviously, the usual go-to mountain, you want to be hidden, you want to be sneaky, you want to be silent. There you go. Armored is now my go-to division. It is so good. Look at those 4 perks. take significantly less explosive and fire damage, immune to shell shock and tactical equipment. So if you hate getting naded, if you hate getting stunned, there you go. Perfect. Also, increased bullet penetration. If you want to shoot through some walls, you get that built in. So you've got FMJ built into your division. And then the final one, greatly reduced flinch when shot. So if you hate the view kick, there's a little bit of reduction there. So those 4 things are absolutely perfect. I run and gun a lot. I play a lot of objective. That is perfect for my playstyle. I would highly recommend that. If you play a little bit like me, a little aggressive and just more OBJ heavy, you could say. And with that being said, this final one is actually something a lot of people recommended in my stream. A lot of people recommended in my comments because I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't really look too much into it. But Resistance now has easier to spot targets and increased minimap coverage. So basically, if you know, let me show you right now. This basic training here, lookout, enemy targets appear from further away and increased minimap coverage. This division has it built in, so you can get rid of that basic training and you can use something else. So if you want to use Resistance with, you know, the minimap indicator, the scrambler, you can hear people better. You know, you've got the little ping as well that they've added. So when you kill someone, they it pings away. So if there's anyone in the near vicinity or whatever, they show up on the radar. So if you're really radar heavy, which I am, I look at the radar all the time, this is going to be perfect. You can use that. You can pair that with hustle. You can pair that with flanker. You know, there's so many possibilities now to use these 3 divisions just so well and so effectively with a sniper rifle. Expeditionary, don't really think there's too many things there that helps benefit sniping. Airborne is a little bit iffy on this game now. I was really looking forward to using it a lot, but they added in fire guns while sprinting and diving. So basically, I think it's called Gung Ho from Black Ops 3. And while you're running and while you're sprinting, you can shoot, you know. So it just looks very weird with the sniper. The animation is very stuttery when you come back up to your scope, and it just doesn't look very pretty. But if you're really aggressive as a player, if you want to reload while you're sprinting, if you want to climb over obstacles faster, no fall damage, sprint faster over time, all of that good stuff, you can rock that and you're going to be really aggressive. I would recommend using the 4x scope though, so you can be even more aggressive. And then the final one here is the infantry division, which has some perks, honestly, but I think it's still only good for maybe the 4x scope because you've got, you know, less idle sway when you aim at nice sights, but I don't really understand, you know, having that now because you can hold your breath. You really don't need that sway. The sway doesn't matter if you can hold your breath, you know what I mean? So that really doesn't benefit too much unless using the 4x scope, so you could maybe pair that with ballistic calibration and you have some steady sniper. You know, you can move faster while aiming, which I really don't like with sniping anyway. I recommend you move, you stop, you shoot, you move, you stop, you shoot. Don't try and move and shoot at the same time. This doesn't look nice and it's not really that beneficial in my eyes. And then obviously you get an additional primary attachment. You can swap weapons faster. So it has its perks. I think it's really good for the 4x, but overall armored, mountain, and resistance are the go-to now with sniping. So obviously I have a lot of classes right here. I'm not going to go through all of those because that's going to take forever, but I do want to go through the main few and talk about each division and how it affects that sniper and what basic training you should pair with each kind of setup that you're looking for. So this one is going to be the regular go-to mountain one. Right now I have the car there, but that could be the Springfield, the Lee Enfield, or even the Type 38, the new gun. Always going to have extended mags, rapid fire, and FMJ on the mountain division because you don't need ballistic calibration when you're holding your breath. The sway really doesn't matter. You know, so always going to have those 3 there, I think, in my eyes. Lookout is always going to be the go-to if you're going to be that mountain guy who's sitting back a little bit, playing a little bit more cautious so you can scope people out a little bit better. The pistol and the nades, don't worry about that. Whatever you like, use that. Then we'll look over to an armored one here. This is my Lee Enfield one. As you can tell, extended mags, rapid fire there again, but ballistic calibration because obviously FMJ isn't needed. You know, you've already got that increased damage through surfaces with the armored division, so you throw on ballistic calibration. Not that you need ballistic calibration, but you may as well. You could throw an FMJ if you want. Maybe it's double the penetration. I have no idea, but that is going to be set up, and right now I'm rocking lookout on that one too. I also have a couple of alternatives of that. I have the armored one there with flanker, and I have the armored one there with hustle. So if you want to be fast-paced, I have a setup for that. If you want to be hidden from the radar, if you've got a lot of people with a lot of streaks on the other team, I have a setup for that. But like I said, armored is my go-to now, and that's with that one's with the Springfield. Next, I want to show you guys a 4x setup. So this is with the infantry division here. This is my Lee Enfield one. My Lee Enfield one is my favorite 4x to use. So here we have extended mags, rapid fire, and ballistic calibration. So if you have ballistic calibration there, pair that with the reduced idle sway already that's on the infantry division. It does stack, by the way. I saw it in the notes. So you're going to be steady. Steady as a rock right there. So that is perfect. I also pair that with hustle because I think that's very effective with the 4x. Very run and gun type setup. So that's an infantry one. If you want an airborne one, This is the one I have. Airborne has built-in hustle anyway, so you don't need to use that. So you've got hunker on there 4 times once again. The only downside is obviously you don't have ballistic calibration, but if you're running and gunning, you really don't need to worry about the sway. So you've got 4 times on again, extended mags, rapid fire, boom, beautiful stuff. That's the airborne one. That's the run and gun. I'm hitting every shot. I'm being a weirdo. I'm just pushing everything. That is that setup. If you're that player, there you go. That's the one you need. And the final one here with resistance, like I said, you don't need to have lookout on because it's already built into the class. So you can now have flanker, which keeps you hidden from the radar. You can also have hustle, so imagine having hustle and lookout on at the same time. That is that class. You also have a lot more perks with the radar, which I've already spoke about, but that is my Springfield setup there with the resistance, and basically there you go. That's all the ones I've got right there. Obviously different variations for different snipers, but the main setup, the main perks, the main attachments, everything is always going to be the same. I love the armored setup. I think it's so beneficial to my playstyle. You might still love the mounted setup. Someone out there might love the airborne setup of running and gunning like a weirdo. It doesn't matter what it is, there's always going to be something there to use now rather than using just the mounted. So there's the setups. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I think that's going to do it.